Leo, I hear you like to pee in the house. This is Leo, and in this video, we're going to share tips about potty training, as well as what you can do if you have a dog that likes to mark. Leo does both, and I'm going to keep him here because it looks better in the shot, and he doesn't have a collar, so he has a little bit more of a hold hug. Some dogs, just for the record, are not a big fans of being restrained physically. I think he just wants to get up and move around. But a lot of us, we want to hug our dog and put our face in their face, and those two things dogs generally don't like unless we teach them to like it. And then they just kind of tolerate it. All right, so for potty training, I asked the guardian, first question I asked about potty training was, what is Leo's command word? And I got a potty? That tells me that it's probably not reinforced. It's kind of like, I'm thinking, sure, I think it's potty. So what we want to do instead is we want to come up with a fresh command word. If you've been saying potty, you probably also say outside and go make a business and all these other things. So what we want to do instead is just say one command word. So I like to use the word business. That's the word I use for my dog. We'll use that for this, but you can use any words you want. You just want to be consistent. Remember, dogs hear the first word that you say, not good potty, just potty, or business in this case. So what we do is we want to take him outside. Now, accidents in the house, by definition, is accidental. It's not intentional. Marking is different. Marking is intentional. When we talked about this stuff off camera, I'll touch on that here in a minute. But let's talk about potty training first. So a lot of people go outside and they say, Leo, go make a potty. And Leo happened to need to potty anyways. And so he went and peed, and you're like, I have the smartest dog ever. I told him to pee, and he went and peed right away. He's potty trained. He's not potty trained. He just coincidentally needed to potty at the same time I asked him to potty. So what we want to do instead, hey buddy, yeah, you're shaking a little bit. I don't like the shaking part. So that part we'll let you go for. Since you don't want to take the treats, yes. And I don't want him to squirm away because then he thinks that that is the way to get down. Nice and relaxed. And I'll kind of let go. There you go. All right, so there's some confidence issue for both dogs. We talked about that off camera, but basically, so if I tell him business and he doesn't have to go business, and I just keep on waiting and waiting, a lot of people, it's one of the mistakes people make is they let the dog out for an hour, they bring him back inside, and they're like, well, he had an accident. Well, he wasn't urgent enough to go, and so he was distracted by all the stuff that's outside. So instead, what we want to do is we want to go outside at the times he's likely to go. For dogs, that's 5 minutes after, right after waking up, 5 minutes after eating, and 15 minutes after the start of heavy playtime. So if the two of them start running around, or the one of them gets the zoomies, and you think it might be potty time, just set a watch, reminder, and after 15 minutes, take him outside, no matter what. I also take my dog once an hour just to be in the right place, the right time makes it easier. So if I go outside and I don't tell Leo to business, I just observe him and make sure there's nothing around for him to be distracted about. If he doesn't go within 5 minutes, I bring him back inside. I hold him. Well, not if he's shivering. I think because he doesn't know who I am. But basically, we either hold him, he's right behind you on the floor, or we put him on a leash and tie it to our leash, or we put him in a kennel if we have a kennel available. What we want to do is limit his access to go and have an accident. The two things you never want to do, and unfortunately people do this all the time, is they rub the dog's nose in it, or they get mad and chastise the dog for having an accident. Go over and say, Leo, bad dog, don't do this here. If you don't catch them in the act, they're not going to make the connection. And I've had people train their dogs to not pee in front of them because you seem to get mad when I pee. You always get mad and you yell at me when I pee. We mean to say I get mad when you pee inside, not outside, but they don't see the difference. So we just take them outside. We give them 5 minutes. If they go within the 5 minutes, as soon as they start to pee or poop, I say the word business one time in a normal tone of voice. But normally when a dog starts to pee or poop, we go, business! And the dog stops pottying. And then it comes in and it has an accident. So say it in a normal conversational tone of voice. Dog starts to pee, business. And then you have a treat. When your dog gets done, crouch down like a catcher in softball. The dog, usually when it sees that motion, will just come right up to you, pop the treat in his mouth, and say the word business a second time. Remember, treat always goes in the mouth first. They hear the command word immediately after the treat goes in their mouth. So then the dog recognizes the first time we associate the action with the command word. Second time we associate the command word with the actual, command word with the reward. I'm laughing because the guardian's taking notes, but this video is for her to watch, so she has it all here. But she's very diligent, so we love that. Okay, so, and if the dog doesn't go in that 5 minute window, we bring it back inside, we wait about 15 minutes until the dog gets fussy or starts complaining, or 15 minutes go by and we take it back out. So it keeps on going in and out, and as soon as it goes potty, well, Leo does not like walking, correct? Okay, for Leo then, as soon as he potties, he can come back inside. Most dogs actually like walking, and then we take them outside, and as soon as they potty, we bring them inside. And they're like, well, I'm punished for pottying. I'm going to keep it inside and keep the walk going. So in his case, bring him inside. If it's another dog, you would maybe take him for a walk around the block after a successful potty. These are accidents. A quick other little sidebar, I see some spots on the floor. They make something called a spot bot, which is like a portable steam cleaner for carpet. It cleans an area this big. You just put the machine down, it puts hot water on it, brushes it out, sucks the water out, puts more hot water, sucks it out. It's $99 if you have a dog that has accidents in the house. It's very, very desirable. All right, and also I talked to the Guardians that redoing the carpet in here. I talked to them about getting some temporary carpet at Carpetland. All right, so that's an ask for attention. These dogs both are used to telling their people what to do, and then when the people don't respond or they get challenged, they lose their confidence. And I think that's what was going on for Leo, because he went and laid down right immediately after he was content. He just didn't know who this person was. So, all right. So marking is an intentional act. It's a way of a dog saying, this is my table. I'm Leo. I've authorized that this table is allowed to be here. Or if another dog comes in, I want him to recognize that I've inspected this table and it passes the Leo bill of muster. So a lot of dogs will do this with unusual changes to furniture or unusual objects or things along those lines. So remember, only once, and don't even lean over. Right now the Guardian is practicing petting with a purpose, which is awesome. So she went over and she said, sit. And that's okay. This is for you. Don't worry. I appreciate that. But the lower we go, the lower we take away some authority. So like this actually takes away some authority. So I would just say sit, 1, 2, 3, and then move on to the next thing. All right. So for potty training or for marking is intentionally, that's the dog's perception, thinking that I need to if another dog comes in here, let that dog know that I've got things under control. That is a perception of leadership. That is a perception of how he sees himself in coordination with the humans that he lives with. So the book says if you have a dog that is a marker, they get no free pets and they're not allowed on the furniture for a period of time. I always recommend 3 months. This is one where it's not so much a direct correlation between the two. It's petting with a purpose. It's passive training. It's upping his exercise. It's rewarding the things that you like and communicating it to him. Also boosting dogs' confidence. I just wrote about this in my behavior column today. Teaching dogs new tricks or commands is a wonderful way to increase their confidence. A lot of dogs that are insecure are the ones that end up going and marking, kind of like somebody who's insecure. You like say something, they get 23 excuses for you. Somebody's very confident, and like, nice job of wearing 2 different colored socks. You're like, yeah, I'm wearing 2 colored. Why aren't you wearing? That's the cool thing to do. You're late. So as a confident person, you just brush that off. If you're insecure, you make all these excuses and you just start going down the road. So it's the same thing for the dogs. If we teach them new tricks or commands, and go to YouTube and I'm happy to come back or send Taylor back and teach the dogs a bunch of tricks and commands, but that's a nice way to insulate them and give them that confidence. And we went over a lot of other things off camera here. But what I would definitely make sure that you do is that you're on top of that and not allowing the dogs on the furniture, and you're petting with the purpose of passive training. Now, if you do want to stage a scenario, this can help, but it won't usually solve the problem. So one of the things the Guardians mentioned is Leo will go pee if there's a new box or something left on it, and he doesn't do it in front of them. So what I would do is I'd put a box or something like that on the old carpet before you redo it, and you can either get a Furbo or a security camera or something like that where you can watch it from the other room on an iPad. Now when you do that, you have to remember that there is a little bit of a time delay. When a dog is going to mark, if this is what I'm going to mark, I'm going to first walk by it this way, I'm going to turn around, I'm going to walk by it this way, and then I usually turn around, that's when I lift my leg and mark. So usually it's 1 pass, 2 pass, mark pass. And so now some dogs are different. Some dogs just 4 times. But if you observe him, you might notice it. And if you have a camera, you can kind of see that. Now I had one guy that had actually a similar type of dog and was marking. He got an air horn. And so you're watching it on we call that a positive punishment. Positive meaning adding something to the equation. Striking a dog or punishing a dog, corporal punishment, they don't learn that way. It's not my method. But doing something like that is not necessarily my ideal way to do it. I like to be as force-free and positive as possible. But that is a tradition, that is a remedy for it as well. Somebody will also get like a change, an empty soda can, put silverware, some screws and tape it on top so it doesn't spill out, and then slam it on the ground. Not at the dog, just nearby. You want to make a calamity sound right as they're, so to time it out, it'd be like pass, pass, crash, as I'm coming back for that 3rd pass, if it is a 3rd pass. And so this way, the dog's like, I'm about to lift my leg, and then a calamity happens. I didn't like the calamity. And every time I go outside, I get rewarded. Now again, potty training does not mean your dog will not mark and vice versa. So they are 2 separate, distinct problems, but they are with the same medium urine. Let me see. There was one other thing I wanted to talk about for potty training. It is slipping my mind right now, so I'll have to get it the roadmap to success. Well, I would say that this is Leo, but he's chewing a bully stick on the floor. But these are tips and tricks you can use if you have a dog that likes to mark in the house or has accidents.